Hello, friends. Talking to you today about an advanced technique of working with the gene keys. So this is for more seasoned veterans, right? But it might also be of interest if you're new to the gene keys because it gives you a glimpse into how you can use different aspects of the gene key synthesis at the same time. And I'm going to give you an example of how I use it. So particularly, I'm working at the moment with the program called the Dream Arc. And the Dream Arc converts all the gene keys into animals and creatures and birds. And it's very right brain. It's very imaginative. And it's a whole kind of program and system in itself. It's huge. It's amazing and powerful. And but for many of you who started working with the gene keys, you're working with the profile. You're working with your profiles. You're understanding your keys, and you're moving through the sequences of the golden path. Most people begin with the activation sequence, which is our most popular course. And it's I agree, it's the right place to begin. It's a great place. I mean, there is no right place really. You begin where you feel drawn, but I would recommend it's a sensible place to start exploring your profile and your purpose and these things. For me, being at it for years, I am using multiple parts of the gene key synthesis at the same time. And the Dream Arc, I'll give you an example. Like right now in the Dream Arc, I am working with, I decided I needed a new creature, because I felt like I had finished a phase, a cycle, and in the Dream Arc, you can either consult the Oracle, which gives you a creature, or you can just look around your life and see what comes. And for me, a bird kept coming, and it was the magpie. And it just kept coming into my garden and knocking on my door. And I just thought, okay, I'm gonna look into this bird and see what it's all about, really, this magpie. And the magpie in the Dream Arc is one of the tricksters. You know, there are these different categories. So it's a trickster. So I thought, well, if I'm going to work with a trickster, some interesting things are probably going to happen. So I accepted that. And the way you work with the Dream Arc is you take one creature at a time. You work with it at an intuitive, imaginative level. And so I took this trickster, this magpie, and the magpie represents Gene Key 23, the city of quintessence, and the magpie is it steals the quintessence from the gods. That's what it symbolizes. It's like the quintessence is the golden grail of everything that's pure and in life. It's like this holy substance. And also at the moment, you might know if you're involved in the Gene Keys or you're new here, we have several retreats running, and one of them is the Pearl, and I'm also a teacher and a lead in that retreat at the moment. So I'm playing with the Pearl, and the Pearl is all about quintessence and prosperity. And so I have the magpie that's weaving together with me in this dream. And when I was advertising for the Pearl, one of the videos I did, if you're paying attention to the Gene Keys, it was called Making Money by Doing Nothing. And it brought a lot of people in to watch that video. And then the first thing I say is, sorry, I've tricked you. I'm not going to talk about this at all. But actually I did. I double tricked you, because by the time I'd finished talking about it, I actually came back and I had described how to make money by doing nothing. But it was so it was like I tricked myself and I tricked you. And it's an example of when you work with one of these creatures, you're working with a set of archetypes, and they're very creative and they can be really powerful in your life. For me, working with a magpie has also led to lots of other breakthroughs of me finding the essence of things in my life and in these teachings. And it ended yesterday where I saw 7 magpies as I was driving down the road. And 7 magpies also are considered. There's an old nursery rhyme in English that says 7 for a secret never to be told, and that's the quintessence. So if you see 7 magpies, I've never seen 7 magpies in my life, I don't think, but I just happened yesterday to do it, and that was like, for me, the crystallization of this pearl. And so what's happening for me, if you don't understand what I'm saying, is that I'm using multiple parts of the synthesis at the same time. The dream arc, the pearl, parts of the activation sequence, the Venus work. Many of these things come together inside me. Dare to be divine, that's about these cities and the quintessence. That is also alive in me. So the more you imbibe the wisdom of the teachings, of the transmission, the more layers are available to you. And you don't have to remember them all, because this isn't knowledge. The Gene Keys is wisdom, so it's all one thing, really. But each aspect, each fractal shard of the synthesis is a lens that you can look through, and it gives you more secrets while you're looking into the lens of, yourself, your higher self, your true self. And that's why it takes this art of contemplation, of making space inside us in our lives, so that all these things can have a life inside us, and they can operate in a magical way, in an intuitive way, rather than in a logical, sequential way. Although there is that too, there's the left brain and the right brain, and that's part of the weaving that we learn when we start to explore these teachings. So these are some insights I thought I'd share with you from the Magpie and of the dream arc, and also of the pearl, and how different aspects of the wisdom can operate at the same time together without overwhelming you or confusing you. It is a more advanced technique, because you have to create a lot of space inside yourself. You have to be very relaxed. And, some of that curiosity of what is a gene key and how does it work has to have already probably burned off in order for you to really sink deep into the synthesis. And then it starts to work inside you in a much more magical way. So I wanted to, if you're new to the gene keys, perhaps that also gives you an idea of what's coming, the deeper you commit yourself to working with these teachings and tools. And if you're a seasoned veteran, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about already. And fantastic. Well done for staying with it and just reaping the harvest of all that contemplation. And I hope that your lives, wherever you are delightful. Thank you.